I'm Isabel with Custom Built, and we're in a little bit of a different scene today. I'm actually in our office, which is in Okemos, Michigan. If you haven't come and stopped by, come say hi. Our team would love to see you. And we're gonna be looking at a design I've got pulled up of a whole home remodel that we're doing. And I'm gonna walk you through a couple design things that we've adjusted on this project because it's a pretty massive transformation. And we're also going to talk about a couple design trends or timeless trends that I am seeing come into our space. So let's go ahead and actually pull up the design. To begin, to give you an overview, we're going to be looking at our demo plan, and this is really going to give you a good layout of how much we are actually changing with this home. So originally, you can imagine here, we had all of our walls that were existing, all of our windows. Everything that is in red is going to be going away and changing. You can see here on this project, we are working with this homeowner to really redesign the entire main floor. So the only section that we're not touching is the office in the back right corner, but you can even see we're replacing the windows. So it's a full main floor remodel. Some of the goals when this client first came to us is that they are looking to have a place where they can gather as a family, where a large table can go so they can sit down and enjoy meals, specifically around holidays. And so when we were originally looking at this floor plan, we've got the front door here, you go right into the entry. To the right was the dining room. And the dining room is a small space, so there's not really a way for us to add a table in here that's gonna fit more than maybe 8 people comfortably. So we started to think outside of the box. With that being one of their priorities, where could we move the dining room to really create an experience for this family? So outside of the dining room, one other thing that was very important to them was to make the kitchen feel open in the center of their home. I always like to think of kitchens as the heart of a home. And so their kitchen right now, it was in the center. You can see it's right there in the middle of their house, but you couldn't see it from the entry. You didn't really sit in it or utilize it as much. The family mostly found themselves actually in their basement, which is not pictured here. But they mostly spent time down there, especially when they did large gatherings. And so really making the kitchen the heart of the home and bringing that back to the center was another big piece here. And finally, they were just looking for some creative solutions to come up with a better flow for their overall main floor. They felt like this was a little clunky how you came in the entry and there was the family room to the left side, there's the dining room to the right, and this narrow hallway that you have to go into. And when I'm looking at a design and really looking at how can we really capture somebody's attention from the first time that we're entering the home, and where do their eyes go to? So those are some of the main pain points when we were working with this client initially in the design. So we got into it. As you can see, we are touching pretty much every area of this house. I'm really excited for the final results. So jumping over to our current floor plan, let's talk through some of the things that we are still working out in design. We're putting final touches on it, so there's a few things that I'm gonna tweak today and kind of play with to really make sure that we're giving the client absolutely everything that they're looking for. So to start, this floor plan looks completely different than our other one. First, we moved the front door. This is a decision that I don't always like to make because when you're looking at the front of your house, where your front door is located is very important. But I will say in this case, it made a lot of sense for that focal point that we wanted to create and also just for the symmetry of the front of the house. So it looks much better now. So we moved that over to the right, which created a completely different sight line. We lost that dining room that really wasn't big enough for this family and was just being utilized as a placing room. So we got rid of that and we created a nice big entry. We've got a mudroom to the right off of it, and we've got a hall to the left that goes directly upstairs. Now we did close off quite a few walls. In the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of designs where people are actually looking to open up their home and to make it a more open floor plan. But recently we've seen this trend to go back towards having unique spaces in your home. Not that people want to get away from the open floor plan and go back to individual rooms that we saw in the 90s, but really that people are wanting to see separate spaces in their home. So for this family, we decided to go that route. We closed off several different entrances. You can see the original hallway that was here is no longer there. That creates more room in the kitchen. And then over to the left, we actually closed off the connection from the family room to the main area. So then you walk straight into the kitchen. I love that from the front door, you get to see the kitchen sink and you get to see a little bit of the range and an island. Really looks cool when you can see several different unique aspects. From there, one of the most exciting things that we did was we relocated that dining room to create a massive dining table in the previous family room. And then we created a family room that is completely closed off, which felt really nice. Again, a quiet space. There's lots of kids in this family, and so it's still connected to the dining room, but it does feel separate and spacious, which is really nice. And then over to the right-hand side, we made some updates to the laundry room. We rearranged where the washer and dryer were at just to make function a little better. We were working within a small space, so we had to come up with creative ideas to really make sure that worked well. And then, of course, in the bathroom, we did some refreshes there. We actually brought in some beams into the bathroom, which is a unique style, but I love it because it ties right in with the dining room. It's just gonna feel comfortable overall. One of my favorite parts when we're in design with a client is to actually jump into 3Ds and show them what their space is going to conceptually look like. So let's jump into 3Ds and I'll give a quick overview. And you can see the kitchen range, you can see the sink, the island. You can see in this design, we were inspired by the mountains. So we were inspired by earthy tones. We brought that in the island, the rock that you'd find maybe out west. And then we've got those deep, rich wood tones. And so again, just some beautiful highlights here. I always like to throw in the little design details, like we have a mirror here on the wall and some plants. I think it really starts to bring a space to life when you can see what it looks like with some items in it that you would use. And then over to the right, we've got this beautiful coffee bar that we have integrated into their space, which their family is going to love and use. And then again, going back to one of their favorite parts of this whole design, which is the dining room. So we've got this beautiful large table built in here. We've got a fireplace that we kept. We did make it pretty narrow because there's not a ton of space in this room, so we wanted to make sure people would still be able to move around, have some good wiggle room. And then over here, we've got a family room with this beautiful built-in section. So one of the things that I'm looking at today is actually herringbone flooring. To give you a little bit more context and an overall understanding of our design process at Custom Built, we start with a kickoff that's understanding existing conditions, that's getting your inspiration. Then we go to our design vision, which is all about your floor plan. We want to solidify the space, the way it's going to flow. That's really important for us to move into the next stage, which is our selection showcase, where we finalize all of your selections. So at this point, we are actually to that phase with the client, but there were a few outstanding items that we wanted to go over after that meeting. So we got about 95% of our selections with a few questions and outliers. And as you can imagine on a large project like this, it's not uncommon to have those outliers where there are decisions that either the homeowner needs to think over, or there are decisions that we need to get feedback from a trade partner on. And finally, sometimes we just have design ideas that will come up in our meetings with the clients that we need to go back and work out a little bit. So this was an idea that was mentioned. They weren't leaning one way or another, but I wanted to take some time to really think through it, look at some different product selections before I presented a herringbone option to them. And I want to look at what it's going to look like if we were to actually switch their flooring from this plank style to a herringbone. Yeah, I'm not in love with this. I think I like the plank flooring more. What I would say about herringbone is it is a beautiful way to really bring your eyes to an area. So it quickly creates a little bit of a dramatic effect. It also quickly can make a space feel pretty busy, so you have to be careful where you put it. I'm actually surprised because I do like it from the front door view a little better. It does create some visual interest and appeal, so I definitely like that. I'm not sold on it, but I am gonna show it to our clients and see what they think. They like adding that little bit of texture. So this was not something I was planning on doing today or even had in my brain, but as I'm looking this direction into our dining room, obviously we've got the two different types of flooring in here, so I could switch that out real quick. But I'm looking at this wall and I don't love how plain it looks. Again, I talked about tying in elements, and I love the green shiplap that we have on our island. So I'm actually gonna put that on our wall here and see what I think. Oh, I really like that. That adds some depth. So whenever you add a dark room to the back of a wall where all the other walls in the space are light, it creates the feeling of depth. It's going to feel like that wall is further back than it actually is. Again, that's just because we're playing with light and color. And so I really like how that pulls the wall back a little bit. It draws your attention to this fireplace, which is a beautiful microcrete material. But I will say if we were to do that on the wall, I would definitely go back to our original flooring because I think between the herringbone flooring and then the planks on the wall, it's too much going on. Yep, now I'm a fan of the wall and the original flooring. So we'll talk with the homeowners and see what they decide. So let's go ahead and jump into the laundry room. I want to show you guys the 3Ds and what we have going on in there. So looking here into the laundry room, again, washer and dryer originally on the left-hand side. They didn't have any built-in space at all. So this really helps us utilize their space better. You can see we've got the washer and dryer right underneath the window. So this is fun because we brought the shiplap into the laundry room. So we've got quite a bit of shiplap in the house, which now is making me kind of think about the option in the dining room. But I think I will still present it to them because I like how it looks. But we do have it as a different color in here, which is fun too. And then these lights don't show up as well in the 3D model, which is why I always tell people that 3Ds are a representation and not reality. But they're a pretty alabaster shade, which is a really fun looking stone that has some veining in it, which plays on the veining that we have in the kitchen countertops. And then we've got some very functional shelves, which I'm sure will be filled with kind of bins and some things like this, as you see. Also on the right-hand side, we put some hooks on the wall, which is really helpful. I find that in a laundry room that is small, it's nice to have more than less options when it comes to hanging up clothing, especially if you do any sort of air drying like I do. I feel like nowadays you have to air dry almost everything. I don't know if that's just me, but it gets a little bit cumbersome sometimes. So the last thing I want to look at here is a new design trend that we're seeing come in, and this has been done in previous decades, but it really is coming back. And I personally have it in my own home, which is doing a darker white on your trim and then a lighter white on your walls. So I'm gonna go for Soji White by Sherwin-Williams, and very popular color right now, and do that on my trim boards and see how I like that in the space. Okay, I like this look a lot. And it might just be because I have this in my own home and I might be a little biased, but I think having a darker trim actually causes the base to blend a little bit more with the wall. And people aren't used to seeing that. So it's a cool design feature that could bring a little bit of conversation to your home as you're sitting around talking about all the design details. So let me change a couple more pieces here just to make sure that I like the look, especially around the windows. Yeah, I really like how this looks. So one of the things that I'm looking at is Soji White is a little bit of a warmer tone. And so playing with the rich wood of all the cabinets that we have in this home, it really balances nice. One of the big things that we're seeing right now in our industry across the board is that we are moving away from making our house fit a certain style like modern farmhouse or French country, and we're moving into a space where we actually understand what our house is and looks like, and then creating a design that works best for that. So you might love features of modern farmhouse like the big country sinks that we had, or the stone textures that people brought in. Even the subway tile was really popular in the modern farmhouse era. But now we're moving into popular designs having a lot of depth and character to them. So no longer are we just whitewashing walls, but we're actually taking time to understand your house's history and its style and bringing that out. And then of course, if you are adding an addition on or completely changing the shape and look of your home because the renovations are so massive, then we like to start with understanding what style you tend to lean towards. But again, I am not going into a home and saying this is a modern farmhouse kitchen that we're going to be doing, because we've found that it's better to really follow the style of your home and then work with multiple textures, multiple styles, and really bring everything all together so it doesn't feel like a cookie cutter style. The two other design trends that we're really seeing are textures. Textures have really come back into play. And when I think of texture, I think of good layers in a room. So when we're designing a space, we're not just thinking about the wall colors and the trim, but we're thinking about how it's going to be filled, what furniture are we putting into it, are we bringing any velvet textures, any linen, some of those pieces that you're seeing now, rugs, even artwork I would consider a texture in a space. So really thinking holistically and bringing a lot of textures into a space has become something we're seeing a lot more of. And finally, one of the fun things we're seeing come back is color drenching. So painting a room with the walls and ceiling being the same color, typically a very rich tone as well. I mean, you can color drench with a white, but it's really fun when you can do a pop and do a deep green or a deep red, some of those earthy tones. So we're seeing a lot of that come back into design. One thing I like to say when it comes to trends is that I don't ever want to do anything that is too trendy. And what I mean by too trendy is something that within 5, 10, even 15 years is going to go out of style and going to be like, wow, why did we install these bright brass hardware pieces all over our entire house and completely date the space, right? So I really look at design inspiration and I think, what is timeless, but what is standing out right now that we can incorporate into your home to really create an updated space, and that when people come into your space, they're excited and they're inspired by what you have in your home. If you're getting ready to embark on your own design project or your own home remodel, I highly recommend working with a design build company. As you can see here, we do spend a lot of time in the details. We spend a lot of time really understanding who you are, your home, and what you're looking to do. And so having a great designer that you get to partner with can really make all the difference for your project. And then of course, we've got to execute on your project. So make sure that you hire somebody who's competent in construction and can really put everything together. Because at the end of the day, we're designing these beautiful details, but what is actually constructed is what matters. And so the guys out in the field doing the work, putting the details together, caring about the little tiny nails that are going to go into your cabinet to make that finishing piece look great is what matters. Because pretty pictures on a computer are awesome and I love them. It's what I do here, but the quality in the field really makes all the difference. Next up, I'm on the move to learn trade secrets from our local contractors. I'm Isabel with Custom Built, and today we're going job site to learn trade secrets from a few local contractors. Out here with Josh, our production director, on a deck in Grand Ledge. And Josh, we've seen thousands of decks built, haven't we?
We've seen a few.
Yeah, and we've seen some great decks and we've seen some rough ones. So today I want you to show me what we do as a Custom Built team to really make sure that we're building the best deck possible.
Great. So, I mean, every good deck starts with a solid foundation. We're only required 4x4, 4x6, or 6x6, depending on the height of the deck. We love the look, the feel, the structure of a 6x6.
Yeah.
So we use them on every one. Doesn't matter if it's 2 feet off the ground or 10 feet off the ground. Everything transfers down to a big 16-inch footings that you can't see down in the dirt there.
Yeah.
We notch all our beams into our posts just so that that's transferring that load down, so you can see the notch here.
Yeah.
I mean, this could carry, you know, 10 or 12 foot between posts.
Wow.
So
And
we
got,
could,
you know,
yeah, maybe 4 feet, right. Then we get up to our joists, you know, 16 inches of code to have our joist spacing.
And just so people know, like, what is a joist?
Okay, post, beam, and then a joist.
Yep.
And then of course our decking above that. So 12 inches on center, real close together. I mean, composite decking tends to form to whatever it's sitting on, so we want to shorten that gap up as much as we can, and then we intentionally space them so we're starting with the bigger ones on one side all the way to the smaller ones. Once that's done, we go up on top and we take a 6-foot level and we plane all these joists down so that it is flat. I mean, it looks like glass up there. So
Yeah.
if you climbed up the ladder and looked across it, you're not going to see any humps or bumps at all.
Right, and I've been out on a couple decks where they have that over time,
Right.
like the decking, like you said,
And-
just conforms to what's underneath.
You'd have a lot of that, and we see a lot of that. I mean, we come out on these decks and you're like, yeah, it's a nice looking deck if you're looking straight down, but don't look out on the horizon because you're going to see it looks like the ocean, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Anytime I get to spend time with our own team on site, it's exciting. But so is our next stop, and we've got a little bit of a drive ahead of us. Today I'm meeting with Dan from Acme Home Exteriors on site to check out a window replacement project they've been working on.
This is a situation where a client really wanted to have more light, and they had this actually pretty small front window, and it was cut up into multiple windows and didn't give them a lot of light. So what we did is we pulled that window out and expanded this.
Yeah, I can see that, and I get that question all the time, like, can we actually expand a window or add a window where there's not a window?
Yeah.
So what did you guys have to do? Because I know there's some more back end.
Absolutely, and the answer is yes, you can add a window where one doesn't exist or a large one, but there are some things that we have to do, some hurdles we have to get over. One of those in here, this is structural, so we actually had to build a big beam in here.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty cool. And another thing we gotta watch out for is wires. And you can see in this picture here, the wires actually just missed the window, so we didn't actually have to get an electrician, which saved the client quite a bit of money because it can be costly. So sometimes we have to move stuff to make that happen.
Right. Awesome. And sometimes you don't know that until you open up the wall, right?
Yeah. Here, I'll take you inside and we can take a look at what it looks like inside. Inside here, this room was actually a little bit dark. And now this new window in, it's really bright in this room. So we still have a little touch up to do, and we have to fix up the wall and do some painting.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're getting really close.
I know one of the things that you really do at Acme is think, how can we do this in the least invasive, most effective way?
Right. Unfortunately, a lot of window companies will just replace the window, and they don't necessarily know how to do that extra framing. So having that skill set when you're having someone to do your window that can take care of, rot damage or framing if necessary, I think is really important.
Finding a contractor who takes care of the project right the first time is so important. And with Dan and his team at Acme, they make the entire process easy and fun. I was a little sad Dan didn't make me go up on the roof this time, but there's still more things to see. So let's get on the move. I'm out here with Stu from Northville Lumber, and he's gonna give me a tour today of what one of their trucks looks like when they pull up for delivery.
Absolutely, follow me. This is called a straight truck.
Okay.
The bed is 24 feet 6 inches long.
Wow.
It can hold pretty much, say, 3 or 4 standard size deliveries. So you can see anything that is going to be affected by the weather is wrapped in plastic. On the back of the truck is our Moffett, sometimes called a piggyback, which we use for every delivery. We no longer dump the material on your driveway. We take it off with the forklift, place it where the contractor would like it, hopefully on time and damage-free.
That's amazing. So how do you load your trucks and secure everything?
Well, it's a good example here. As you can see, our straps are damage-free. There's no cuts or frays in them. They're routed the right way under the rub rail. That's a DOT regulation. That's in case your truck happens to scrape up against a building. The strap is protected from any damage, and everything is nice and taut and ready to go down the road 65 miles an hour. This is the Moffett, commonly called a piggyback, as you can see on the mast. It is an awesome piece of machinery. It has a 5,000 pound capacity, it's 3-wheel drive, and it can drive not only forwards and backwards, but side to side.
This vehicle is incredible. I mean, what you guys do on it is awesome.
It is, Isabel, but really the incredible part is the person in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
When they show up to make a delivery, they place the material exactly where the customer would like it. They put it on blocks, they document everything with pictures, they're nice and courteous to the homeowner, and then back to the lumberyard to do another delivery.
Maybe next time Stu will let me drive the truck. But for now, let's get on to our next stop. I'm out at a home in Lansing, Michigan, and I'm gonna go meet Devin from Paul Davis Restoration and hear about this project they've got going on. A tree has completely fallen on this house, destroyed the backside, and then even the front of this house has quite a bit of damage. So we're gonna go see what they're doing on this site so they can get back into their beautiful home. I wanna talk through just the process of insurance and how you guys deal with that. What does that look like?
When you have an insurance loss, water damage, fire, tree fall, it's important to know what you have and when you can use it. So you have a set amount of coverage, and that is what you have to rebuild your house. So if you have a tree fall and you have $120,000 in coverage and you have a larger home, say Paul Davis rates their estimate for $200,000 and you have 120, well, you're a little bit in trouble. So it's very important to know that if your house is worth 250, well, it's probably important to have more than that in coverage.
Right. So you're dealing with worst case scenarios every single day. So what do you recommend for a homeowner when it comes to an insurance policy? What should their coverage be and what should they look for?
Yeah, they want to pay attention for if they have to rebuild their house, that they have enough money. So if your house is worth 200,000, well, you probably want, $350, just so you have enough. And then when you get into your personal property, if it says 50,000, well, if you think you have more than $50,000 worth of stuff in the house, then you probably want 100,000. And then when you get into, it's called ALE, it's your additional living costs, that's when you're out of the home. So if you have, 8,000, 9,000, well, rent's $1,000 a month for you to rent a place to stay. So, you want to be up there in the 20, 25, 30, because, a fire can take up to 6 months. You want to be well covered so that when it does happen, or if it does happen to you, that you are well taken care of.
The work that Paul Davis is doing on this home is incredible, and we'll definitely be back to check in on their progress. But for now, we have another stop ahead of us. I wanted to sneak in here at Carpet Studio Flooring America because I've got a special project I've been working on for my own home. I'm looking for some rug options. So I know Tom has got a couple things, and I'm hoping he can help me find a wool option that fits my room just right. So I want to find a rug that you guys can actually put together for me.
Absolutely.
Got a couple inspiration pictures here to show you.
Let's take a look.
So I'm looking for something neutral, maybe a little bit of texture, a little bit of color.
I have just the thing for you.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Follow me. These are some great wool products, and you're looking for a rug to enhance that room. This would be the perfect selection.
Okay.
We've got the big knobby material, soft feel, looped wool pattern with the serging and the binding available. And it's great for allergies. If you have allergies in the home, wool's one of the best products you can possibly get.
Yeah, show me a couple other ones. I always like to see what's out there, you know?
Absolutely. How about something a little thicker and a little bit? This is very nice, very soft.
So could you guys bind this for me so it's in a round shape, or do we need to stick with rectangle?
We can do any type of shape that you'd like. We can do binding, or we have what they call serging, which gives it a little bit more of a thread look. This would be your binding here. This would be more of your serging.
Okay, talk to me about timeline for getting this, and then cost.
Well, depending on the amount and the size you need, it usually takes about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get the materials in.
You guys do per square foot on this, or?
We do per square foot, and if you see, we have our pricing list there.
Oh my gosh.
So it's everything.
You make it easy on me. I can just
digital.
come over here and look at it.
Exactly. So we try to make it as easy as possible for our customers.
Okay, I think you sold me in this one.
All right. I think
I
that would be a
love it.
great option for your room.
I love it. That's all for our trade secrets today, but in case you missed it, let's revisit one of my favorite projects that we highlighted last year.
Hey guys! Surprise! Yeah, welcome!
Oh my goodness!
Karen, are you ready to see your space?
I am ready. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love how the two-tone cabinetry came out. Oh, this island is the right size. It's huge.
Our family, like most families, they like gathering in the kitchen. So it was important that we have a bigger space to have that opened up.
This is
It's a
great.
lot bigger than the one we had before.
Yes,
Get a lot more people around it, so family hour will be right here.
We have a lot of memories in our old kitchen, and I'm just looking forward to creating so many new memories in this new space.
Can't say enough about
The kitchen, the tile work around the window and over the stovetop is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, check out your living room space.
Oh my goodness. Oh, love the fireplace. That tile work is great. Oh, that's beautiful. The space is wonderful.
This project is just for you. I mean, I couldn't have done it without your inspiration, and I just wanted Brian to help me bring it to light.
Okay, let's take a look at your family room as well.
I love the way the colors came together. We were trying to look for a gray that had blue gray because of the blue feature wall. I think this room just kind of hugs you. I love the color.
This is your retirement home. You just retired.
I love it. I love it.
To learn more about our partnerships in this episode, please scan the QR code on your screen.